Thursday, January 29th, 2026, and it's official. We've got a bomb cyclone on the way, potentially impacting millions of you with heavy snow and strong winds. So, let's talk about it. Alright, so the signal we've been watching all week is now official. I think that we can very clearly say that a major coastal storm is going to form off the southeast coast this Saturday, and the headline here is going to be bombogenesis. I know we talked yesterday about how that kind of sounds a little hypey, but it's real. Bombogenesis is a real thing. It's whenever a low-pressure center rapidly drops at least 24 millibars in 24 hours. It's just a sign that the storm is going to get excessively strong in a short period of time. And what usually happens here is somebody gets absolutely smacked with snow and wind. What's going to be different about this one versus the last storm is the wind. We're going to see a real blizzard somewhere, potentially in the Outer Banks of the Carolinas, which is pretty crazy. But also, the potential is there for the Cape Cod area. We're going to see this low forming off the Georgia and South Carolina coast early Saturday, intensifying rapidly Saturday night, and then passing just southeast of Cape Cod by Sunday morning. So, it's going to move pretty quick once it intensifies. And that's why, on Saturday into Sunday, we have an enhanced risk of at least moderate winter storm impacts from Columbia, South Carolina up to Asheville, over to Greenville. And yes, Richmond and Virginia Beach, you are included in this. Charlotte, Raleigh. There's actually quite a few people in this purple zone here, and if you are one of those people, get ready for the snow. This is not going to be an ice problem. It's not going to be a freezing rain or sleet problem. This is Snowtown, baby. And then as the storm travels up the coast between Sunday and Monday, our risk area gets a little bit farther off the coast, but there are still some places that will see some snow and some impacts from this. We're talking about potential flurries and coastal flooding from Washington, D.C., all the way over through the entire state of Delaware, and then New Jersey, New York City will get in on some of that as well. The real snow might be possible over here in extreme southeastern Rhode Island, of course, Cape Cod. It's possible that Boston sees some snow, but the worst of it is definitely going to be from Cape Cod up to down East Maine and then up into Canada. Here's a thin band of snow around 10 a.m. on Friday morning forming over my area. This is going to be the first step of what will eventually become our multi-phased big-time storm system. Watch how that turns into moderate snow over the northwest side of the Appalachian Mountains. All of our moisture starts showing up here on the southeastern side of our low-pressure system. And then boom, we've got ourselves a full-blown storm system by Saturday at 10 a.m. We've got heavy snow back here in northeast Georgia, back into the higher elevations of North Carolina, northwest South Carolina, and eastern Tennessee. And we've also got moderate to heavy snow starting to form in the Piedmont region. And then the Euro shows a thumping of snow across the entire state of South Carolina. By 7 p.m., we've got multiple places potentially seeing more snow than they've seen in a while in South Carolina. And notice how we also have that snow breaking out into southeast Virginia, southern portions of Maryland and Delaware. And then that storm is just getting really strong off the coast there, potentially provoking blizzard conditions along the Outer Banks by 7 a.m. on Sunday morning. This is going to be crazy to see 30 to 50 mph winds ripping on the Carolina coast, causing coastal flooding, and then it's also going to be snowing heavy around this time. This 968 millibar low-pressure center is similar to a Category 2 hurricane. Okay? So this is going to be a wild storm. It would be one of the greatest storms of all time that we all remember if it were just a little bit farther to the west. If this thing was slapping the I-95 corridor between Washington, D.C. up to New York City through Boston, this would be one of the all-time greats, but it is going to be a quite memorable storm. And depending on how much snow falls, maybe even a somewhat historic storm for the Carolinas. And once again, watch those winds ramp up. We're talking about 40 to 50 mph wind gusts back here on the western side of that low-pressure center as it forms up in Alabama and Georgia. We're going to be talking about some crazy winds potentially over 80 miles per hour over the water there near the Outer Banks on Saturday evening. But even overland here, we're talking about 30 to 40 mph gusts around Charlotte and Raleigh, and this is just going to be quite the powerful storm here. Look at that. 100-mile-per-hour winds are possible over the water here, just off of the Carolina coast as we get into 5 a.m. on Sunday. This is going to be pretty windy storm even up there towards the northeast. Of course, some of those 50 to 70 mph winds are also going to hit the Cape Cod area. Places further inland, like Richmond, Virginia, for example, I don't see huge winds over here. I think that 30 to 40 mph wind gusts are going to be your biggest problem in Columbia, Charlotte, Raleigh, Richmond, up to Washington, D.C. But the closer you are to the coast, the more likely it is that we're going to see those strong winds. And of course, that's going to cause a coastal flooding problem. Put all this together, and over the next 3 days, we're going to have major travel implications in the red area. We're talking about places like Rock Hill and Bennettsville, Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Raleigh, Fayetteville, Goldsboro, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, Elizabeth City, and there might even be some places that experience extreme impacts on the roads and in your daily life over here towards eastern North Carolina. It has been a long time since anybody over here has seen anything like this. Okay, don't be out on the roads. Be prepared. It's literally going to be a blizzard. No matter whether we get 3 inches of snow on the ground after this is all said and done, or 15, it's going to be a blizzard while it happens. And you're not going to want to be outside. You're not going to want to be out dealing with that as the storm goes through. All right, so how much snow are we talking about here? Well, let's zoom in. We'll talk about everywhere, but let's start down here in the bullseye zone in the Piedmont region of the Carolinas. Okay, right now, the NBM, the National Blend of Models, which is a conservative blend, a smudge, a hodgepodge of all of the models put together, which is nice. Sometimes it's actually a very good model to go by because, it's better to take an average of all of them, right? So let's take a look at this. This is showing 4 inches in Columbia, 6 inches in Charlotte, 6 inches in Asheboro, 8 inches in Raleigh, and 13 inches in Kill Devil Hills, maybe 10 inches in Greenville, 6 inches in Richmond, 11 inches in Virginia Beach. But here's something that I need to say for Raleigh specifically. 8 inches might be on the high side because we've got to be thinking about the risk for dry slots. Okay, so there's going to be 2 storms that's going to be hitting Raleigh essentially. All right, to put it very simply, we're going to have a low pressure center or big nasty bomb cyclone forming off the coast, right? That's what's going to really put snow onto Raleigh potentially, but the heaviest snow axis for that is probably going to be right in here. But then there's going to be a messy low that forms back here west of South Carolina, and that's going to bring in some heavier snow in this area. What might happen is while these 2 low-pressure systems are working in tandem with each other to kind of steal the moisture away from Raleigh, there might be a dry slot that ends up forming here that ends up producing less snow for all of the areas in the middle, including Columbia, Charlotte up to Raleigh, maybe even Richmond, and then actually puts down more snow on the periphery. It wouldn't be surprising to me if some places got more than 11 inches, for example, in eastern North Carolina in this situation, but this is just one of the many things that could happen. I think that looking at this is a nice average. It's very possible that we see 8 inches of snow in Raleigh. I'm just trying to get you prepared for what could potentially cut down on those totals. Okay, now I think down here in the Delmarva, we have a pretty good chance of seeing 10 inches of snow around Salisbury. I think closer to 7 inches of snow is possible there. I know a lot of people in the Washington, D.C. and Baltimore area were concerned. We don't want any more snow over here. But anywhere from Lexington up the I-81 corridor over to Hagerstown to Washington to Baltimore. This whole zone right here, I think that a general 1 to 3 inches is a good safe bet here. I think that in Philadelphia we might see closer to 2 to 4 inches. But if you're in southeast New Jersey, Atlantic City, for example, could see up to 8 inches of snow. I think that's on the high end. But it is possible. 4 inches is possible in New York City. Maybe a little bit more than that out in Long Island. The one place where I'm pretty sure that we're going to see a ton of snow is Cape Cod. 15 inches might be on the low end out here in Cape Cod as the storm goes by. And this is also going to be a place where we have a blizzard and a half with hurricane force winds out here. So get ready for it. 7 inches in Providence and Boston might be on the high end of things. I think it's going to be a very sharp cutoff between who sees snow and who doesn't. The one thing that kind of is not great about the blend of models is it blends and smudges things together a little bit too much, and I do think that we'll have a greater cutoff. 7 inches of snow is possible on the high end for Boston, and then down East Maine, a widespread 2 to 4 inches is going to be possible, maybe 3 to 6 over here in extreme eastern portions of Maine. And then Nova Scotia, Halifax, you guys are going to get buried in over a foot of snow. And you're going to have that big blizzard as well, with hurricane-force winds. Now, let me show you something wild. We're going to have Gulf effect snow. You know how we have lake effect snow in the north? Well, it's so cold after the storm goes by that we're actually going to have Gulf effect snow in Florida. This is real. We might actually see snow in Tampa. Literally, a coating of snow is possible in Tampa by the time this is all said and done. We're going to see snow flurries potentially over here around Orlando, Jacksonville, Daytona Beach. And some models are even showing the possibility for some very light snowflakes possible in the Bahamas, which would be the first time this has happened since the 70s. Okay, the winter of 1977 was pretty crazy. That was the last time that we had snow in the Bahamas. It is possible that we see snow in the Bahamas as a result of this storm, so keep watching out for that. And the reason for this is our unrelenting cold down here Sunday morning is going to be really cold across Florida. Our actual temperature is going to be 23 degrees in Tallahassee, 21 in Starka, 35 in Tampa. The wind chills are going to be 10 degrees below that. It's going to be a dangerous cold. This is not just sweater weather. We are looking at a hard freeze likely for the Nature Coast and freezing temperatures potentially reaching as far south as the interior suburbs of Tampa and Orlando Saturday night. The National Weather Service in Tampa is calling this extremely hazardous for marine interests and dangerous for vulnerable populations. Okay, and once again, the wind chills are going to bring the feels like temperatures down into the single digits up here in northern Florida. So it's been a while since it's been that cold, so get ready for it. It's also going to be cold up here for the rest of us. We're talking about a low of 23 in Dallas, 20 in Oklahoma City Sunday morning. How about 2 in Indianapolis? And of course, our friends back here in this area, there's still people without power. And unfortunately, I've got another update for you on the death toll from our most recent storm. It's over 100 now, which makes that the most deadly winter storm and cold outbreak since the big-time power crisis in Texas. Okay? And the death toll continues to go up, everyone. It's bad out here. It's really bad. We've got people that we talk to that are down there right now. We've got storm chasers like Corey Gherkin, Jaden Pappenheim, and all these people that are still down there helping people out. It reminds me of like the aftermath of a hurricane in some of these areas. People don't know what to do. It's bad. The good news is that power is being restored. I think that a lot of places will be back on today, but the bad news is that the cold keeps coming. Once again, Sunday is going to be really, really cold in Memphis. Nashville, Oxford, 12 degrees. So get ready for that. It's going to be even colder up here in the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley. We're talking about negative temperatures in upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, up there into Toronto, Montreal, and Quebec. So get ready for that. Is any warmth on the way? Yes, for some of us up here in the north-central United States, the Great Plains, even portions of the South, it's coming over the next 10 days, but it's not coming for us on the East Coast, okay? There's no end in sight with the cold air. Things might get a little bit more normal closer to the Mississippi River Valley, but the below-average temperatures are likely to continue for the East Coast for the foreseeable future. This will eventually flip, but we're not seeing that anytime soon. So, that's the latest on that. As of right now, it's looking like we might go live Saturday. So, make sure you slap a like on this video and turn notifications on. And that's pretty much all the weather talk I have for you today. I do appreciate you all for watching and sharing these videos, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.